Have you ever wondered how Christian philosophy came to be? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? Well, let's take a journey back in time to unravel this fascinating story. Christian philosophy, as we know it today, has its roots deeply embedded in the teachings of Jesus Christ and the Apostle Paul. But it didn't just spring into existence overnight, it was a process, a gradual evolution that began during the early years of Christianity. Jesus Christ, with his radical teachings of love, forgiveness, and redemption, provided the ethical backbone that would form the core of Christian philosophy. His teachings emphasized the inherent worth of every individual and the importance of treating others with kindness and respect. The Apostle Paul, on the other hand, played a crucial role in shaping the theological aspects of Christian philosophy. His letters, known as the Pauline epistles, are considered some of the earliest Christian theological writings. They explore profound questions about faith, redemption, and the nature of God, laying the groundwork for future Christian philosophical thought. But the birth of Christian philosophy was not an isolated event. It was influenced by, and in dialogue with, the prevailing philosophies of the time, particularly Greek philosophy. Early Christian thinkers such as Justin Martyr and Augustin of Hippo were well versed in Greek philosophy and often used it as a tool to explain and defend Christian beliefs. For instance, the Greek concept of logos, or divine reason, was adopted by early Christian thinkers to explain the nature of Christ. Similarly, Platonic and Aristotelian philosophies influenced the development of Christian ideas about the nature of God and the relationship between faith and reason. So the foundation of Christian philosophy was laid during the early years of Christianity, influenced by Greek philosophy and the teachings of Jesus Christ and Apostle Paul. It's a rich tapestry of thought, woven together from diverse threads, that continues to evolve and inspire even today. Now, who were the thinkers that shaped this new philosophy in its early days? Let's take a trip back in time and meet some of the key figures of the early church. The first name that comes to mind is Augustin of Hippo. Augustine was a Roman African and a theologian who lived in the late 4th and early 5th centuries. He's known for his works Confessions and City of God, which delve into human nature, the existence of evil, and the relationship between faith and reason. Augustine's writings provided the Christian faith with a philosophical framework, helping it to navigate and interact with the dominant philosophical schools of his time. Then there's Thomas Aquinas, a towering figure in the Middle Ages. Born in Italy in the 13th century, Aquinas was a Dominican friar who wrote extensively on philosophy and theology. His most significant work, Summa Theologica, is a comprehensive exploration of Christian doctrine and ethics. Aquinas sought to reconcile faith and reason, arguing that both were paths to truth. He was instrumental in incorporating the philosophy of Aristotle into Christian thought, a move that would significantly influence the course of Western philosophy. These early church fathers grappled with complex questions about the nature of God, the purpose of human life, and the relationship between the spiritual and physical realms. They didn't shy away from engaging with the philosophical ideas of their time, even when those ideas came from outside the Christian tradition. Instead, they sought to understand, critique, and sometimes even incorporate these ideas into their own philosophical frameworks. Their works were marked by a deep commitment to their faith and an equally deep commitment to intellectual rigor and exploration. They didn't see faith and reason as enemies, but as partners in the pursuit of truth. These early church fathers played a crucial role in shaping Christian philosophy, setting the stage for future philosophers. Their contributions continue to resonate today, influencing how we think about faith, reason, ethics, and the nature of the divine. How did Christian philosophy evolve during the Middle Ages and Renaissance? As we step into the Middle Ages, the world of Christian philosophy takes on a new dimension, an era marked by the rise of scholasticism, a method of learning that placed a significant emphasis on dialectical reasoning. This period saw the emergence of some of the most influential Christian philosophers, who sought to reconcile faith with reason. One such philosopher was Anselm of Canterbury. Known as the father of scholasticism, Anselm's philosophy was deeply rooted in the belief that faith and reason were not at odds. His most notable work, The Ontological Argument, proposed that the concept of God alone proves his existence. Anselm argued that God is that than which nothing greater can be conceived, and so by definition must exist. This argument sparked numerous debates influencing generations of thinkers. Then came William of Ockham, a Franciscan friar and philosopher who is best known for Occam's razor. a principle that suggests that the simplest explanation is often the best one. This principle questioned the complexity of philosophical and theological arguments of his time, steering Christian philosophy towards a more empirical approach. As we journey into the Renaissance, the philosophical landscape shifts again. The Renaissance, a period of rebirth, saw a renewed interest in ancient Greek and Roman thought. Christian philosophers of this era, while maintaining their religious beliefs, started to explore these classical philosophies more deeply. This exploration led to the development of humanism, a movement that emphasized the value of human beings, individually and collectively. The Middle Ages and Renaissance were a time of intense philosophical debate. Questions about the nature of God, faith, and reason were at the forefront. The works of philosophers like Anselm and Occam not only shaped the discourse of their time, but continue to influence Christian philosophy today. The Middle Ages and Renaissance saw a flourishing of Christian philosophy, with thinkers grappling with complex theological and philosophical questions. But what happened to Christian philosophy during the Enlightenment and modern era? This period, spanning from the 17th to the 20th century, was a time of great change and challenge for Christian philosophy. During the Enlightenment, reason and science took center stage while religious faith was often relegated to the wings. The authority of the church was questioned, and some philosophers even advocated for a separation between church and state. This was a stark departure from the Middle Ages and Renaissance, where Christian philosophy was deeply intertwined with the societal and political fabric. Yet, Christian philosophy was far from extinguished. In fact, it was during these times of upheaval that some of its most influential thinkers emerged, their works shaping the course of Christian thought to this day. Consider Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher and theologian often hailed as the father of existentialism. Rejecting the idea that reason alone could provide a full understanding of life and faith, Kierkegaard emphasized the importance of personal choice and commitment. He argued that faith was an individual subjective experience, a leap that one must take without the certainty of rational proof. His ideas challenged the rationalist approach of the Enlightenment and added a new dimension to Christian philosophy. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we encounter C.S. Lewis, a British scholar and author who used his writings to explore and explain Christian beliefs. Lewis, despite living in an increasingly secular world, made a powerful case for faith. His works, such as Mere Christianity and The Problem of Pain, presented Christianity in a way that was both intellectually rigorous and accessible, resonating with readers around the globe. So while the Enlightenment and modern era brought challenges, it also brought opportunities for growth and evolution. Christian philosophy adapted, engaged with the changing times, and continued to offer profound insights into life's biggest questions. Despite the challenges of the Enlightenment and modern era, Christian philosophy continued to evolve, with thinkers like Kierkegaard and Lewis making significant contributions. And what about today? Who are the leading Christian philosophers in the 21st century? Well, let's dive in. A name that frequently comes up in contemporary Christian philosophy is Alvin Plantinga. Plantinga, a philosopher hailing from the United States, made significant waves with his work in the philosophy of religion, epistemology, and metaphysics. One of his most influential contributions is the development of Reformed epistemology, a theory that argues belief in God can be rational even without concrete evidence or argument. Another notable figure is William Lane Craig, a philosopher and theologian recognized for his work in the philosophy of religion, historical Jesus studies, and the cosmological argument for the existence of God. His Kalam cosmological argument has sparked spirited debates among philosophers and theologians, both believers and non-believers. He contends that the universe had a beginning, and that this beginning implies a personal creator, a concept that has fueled vibrant discussions in the realm of philosophy and beyond. These contemporary philosophers are not only contributing to the ongoing dialogue surrounding Christian philosophy, but are also engaging with other philosophical traditions and secular philosophies. They're addressing key debates and issues like the problem of evil, the nature of faith and reason, the existence of God, and the intersection of science and religion. While the questions they grapple with are age-old, their approaches and arguments are uniquely shaped by the context of the 21st century. They're using modern tools like formal logic and scientific discoveries to articulate and defend their views. The works of these philosophers have not only advanced Christian philosophy but also enriched the broader philosophical landscape. They've challenged assumptions, provoked thought, and fostered understanding among people of various beliefs. In the 21st century, Christian philosophy continues to be a vibrant field, with philosophers like Plantinga and Craig leading the way. Their works, debates, and contributions serve as a testament to the ongoing relevance and vitality of Christian philosophy in our modern world. So what are the key points we've learned about Christian philosophy? We began our journey with the birth of Christian philosophy, a unique discipline that emerged from the intersection of faith and reason. It took its first steps in the intellectual landscape of the ancient world, influenced by classical Greek and Roman philosophy, yet distinct in its central focus on Christian beliefs. Our exploration then led us to the early church fathers, the pioneers who laid the groundwork of Christian philosophy. They wrestled with profound questions of faith, morality, and the nature of God, setting the stage for the intellectual pursuits that followed. We traveled through the Middle Ages and Renaissance, a time of dramatic change and intense intellectual activity. The great minds of this period, such as St. Augustin and St. Thomas Aquinas, deeply enriched Christian philosophy. They wove together the threads of faith and reason, creating a tapestry of thought that continues to inspire and challenge us today. Our journey then took us to the Enlightenment and the modern era. We saw Christian philosophy respond to the shifting intellectual currents of the time. Figures like Soren Kierkegaard and G.K. Chesterton navigated these turbulent waters, grappling with the challenges of modernity while staying true to the core tenets of their faith. Finally, we arrived at contemporary Christian philosophy. We're in a vibrant, diverse landscape of thought where philosophers engage with the latest developments in science, politics, and culture. They continue the tradition of their predecessors, blending faith and reason in their quest for truth. Throughout our journey, we've seen that Christian philosophy is not a static, monolithic entity. It's a living, evolving discipline shaped by the thinkers who engage with it in the times in which they live. It's a rich tapestry of ideas woven together by the threads of faith and reason. Christian philosophy has a rich history, with many influential thinkers contributing to its development over the centuries. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From the birth of Christian philosophy, through the ages and up to the contemporary thinkers, it's been quite a journey. It's a testament to the richness of this field, and its continued relevance in our world today. We hope that this exploration has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to delve deeper. Whether you choose to read the works of the early church fathers, explore the thoughts of philosophers during the Middle Ages and Renaissance, or dive into the thoughts of modern and contemporary Christian philosophers, there's a wealth of knowledge waiting to be discovered. Remember, the pursuit of knowledge is never a wasted effort. As we unpack the complexities of Christian philosophy, we're not just learning about different theories and ideas. We're also cultivating a love for wisdom, and it's this wisdom that helps us navigate our world with greater understanding and compassion. Thank you for watching. Remember, philosophy is the love of wisdom, and wisdom is the key to understanding. See you in the next video.